So every few weeks on all the dirt bike forums on the internet and on Facebook, somebody asks the question, how do you do a good dirt bike tire change without getting any pinch flats? So step one, and this is kind of obvious, I like to get all my tools laid out. I like to throw a piece of plywood on the ground, that way I can protect my brake rotor, my rim, and my sprocket while I'm doing the tire change. I use 2 spoons, 2 rim protectors, a bead buddy, a 12mm wrench, an air chuck, a tire gauge, and a valve core tool. Getting the wheel off the bike is pretty easy. If you can't do that, I suggest getting someone with some knowledge and experience to help you for your first time. Now the key to a great tire change is getting the tires warm. You notice I have my new tire leaned up against the Land Cruiser in the background. It's in the sun. It's actually been in the house by the heater all day staying warm. I took the bike out, I ran it around, I did a burnout, I got the tire warm that was on the bike. That way, when you're working these tires, you can actually get some flex and you don't beat yourself up trying to do this. Step 2, grab your valve core tool, remove the valve core out of the valve stem, and then remove the nut from the valve stem. Step 3, loosen up your rim lock. Now it should be easy to get that nice warm tire down off the bead. Now I've broken down all different kinds of tires on all different kinds of wheels, and I can tell you that I've never had to use anything but 2 spoons. In a lot of cases, if you get the tire warm, if it hasn't been on the wheel for a long time, you don't even need spoons like in this video. But if you do, you can use 2 spoons, you can work them around the rim slowly, and you will get the tire off the bead. It's not as hard as everybody likes to make it look. So step 4, it's kind of important to note here that I like to have my rim lock and my valve stem right over there about by my right hand. I use my knees to hold the bead down in the drop center of the wheel, and then I throw a couple of rim protectors in and get that initial pop up over the wheel with the tire. This is a little hard and it can kind of be rough on the wheels if you don't use the rim protector. Now the key to making this part of the job easy is the distance that you move your tire tool. Every time I work part of the bead over the rim, I move about 2 to 3 spokes away from that position. This allows me to get an easy bite on the bead and not put a whole lot of pressure on the rim as I work that bead over. I work about a quarter of the way down one side, and then I go ahead and work it around from the other side. Once you work the tire over the rim on one side, you simply flip it over and repeat the process on the other side. Now that you've got the rim inside both of your beads, it's easy to flip the rim out of the tire. Now you can remove the rim and the tube from the tire. In my case, the tire was filthy inside. There was muddy water in there and the tube and the rim were dirty. So I decided to grab some rags and clean things up while I had it all apart. Now here's one of the key parts of this method of tire changing. At this point, I like to take the new tire and stuff the tube inside of it. Now once you get the tube stuffed in the tire, it's time to move back over to the rim and install the valve stem in the valve stem hole. Once I get the valve stem installed in the rim, I just put the nut on finger tight. Now once you get the valve stem installed in the rim, you want to stand the tire and the rim back up. At this point, you're going to want to work the beads outside of the rim so that the rim can get down inside the beads of the tire, just like it was in the old tire before you removed it. Essentially, what you're doing is working backwards from the way you took the old tire off. Now once you've got the rim inside the tire all the way around, it's time to start working the tire back down over the rim. Now you want to take your knees, push the bead down into the drop center, and use that bead buddy to help you hold it in place. Now you can grab your tire tools and start working the bead back over the rim. Now I like to move my tools about 2 spokes every time I get a new bite. Again, just like when you were taking the old tire off of the rim, this seems like the right amount to not put a lot of stress on your rim, not put a lot of stress on your bead, and just work that tire in nice and easy. Once you finish getting that side on the rim, just flip and repeat. Now you can go ahead and snug up the valve stem nut. I like to get mine just a little bit more than finger tight. Now there's a couple different schools of thought on this. Some people say leave your valve stem nut loose, that way if the tire slips on the rim there's less chance that the tube will tear. Personally, I've seen tubes fail in so many different scenarios that I really doubt that a tight or a loose nut is going to make that much difference. If your tube's going to fail, it's probably just going to fail. I say run a heavy-duty tube and do the best you can. You can put the valve core in at this point if you want to, or you can leave it out until you get the beads seated. On a dirt bike tire, the beads generally seat pretty easily, so it's not that big of a deal to go ahead and put the core in now. You're probably not going to get more than 30 to 40 psi to get the beads to seat. And you don't need that mass flow of air like you do on a tubeless tire to get the beads to seat. Now you can just grab your air gauge and adjust your air pressure accordingly. Now just tighten up the rim lock and mount the wheel back on the bike, and you're good to go. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was a helpful video for some of you, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your questions or comments below. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks.